My autistic brother never spoke until the day our father died. What he said left the entire hospital in tears. When have you witnessed someone find their voice in the most unexpected moment? For our family, it was the day my nonverbal autistic brother spoke his first and only sentence. Jason is 3 years older than me, but was diagnosed with severe autism at age 2. While I grew up learning to ride bikes and argue with our parents, Jason lived in a world of patterns, routines, and silence. Not once in 26 years had he spoken a single word. Parent, not mom, not hungry, nothing. He communicated through a tablet app, picture cards, and a system of gestures we'd all learn to interpret. Our father was Jason's anchor. Dad had infinite patience, developing special routines only they shared every Sunday morning. They would sit together on our porch swing, Dad reading aloud from whatever book he was enjoying, while Jason rocked gently beside him. It didn't matter if it was a thriller, biography, or technical manual. Jason would sit perfectly still. When Dad was diagnosed with aggressive pancreatic cancer last year, the doctors gave him 6 months. He lasted 4. Those final weeks, Dad insisted on maintaining his Sunday reading ritual with Jason, even when he became too weak to hold the books. I would position them just right, Dad propped up on pillows with Jason beside him on the hospital bed, and place the open book where Dad could see it. His voice grew weaker each week, but he never skipped their session. The night Dad died, we all knew it was coming. The hospice nurse had prepared us, explaining that his breathing would change, becoming more labored before it stopped. Mom, my sister Emma, and I took shifts sitting with him while Jason paced the hallway outside the room. He refused to come in. Parent disruptions to routine are extremely difficult for him, but he wouldn't leave the hospital either around 3 a.m. during my shift. Dad's breathing changed dramatically. The nurse came in, checked his vitals, and gently suggested I call Mom and Emma from the family room down the hall. It won't be long now, she whispered. As I stepped into the hallway, Jason was standing there rocking slightly, his hands flapping in distress. I touched his shoulder gently. I need to get Mom, I explained, knowing he probably wouldn't understand the gravity of the moment. Dad is going to leave soon. Something in his expression shifted. Before I could react, Jason walked past me into Dad's room, breaking his own strict adherence to routine, and stood at the foot of the bed. The nurse and I exchanged surprised glances, but remained silent. Jason stared at Dad for several long moments, his body unusually still. Then he moved to Dad's side, sat in the chair I had vacated, and reached for Dad's hand. What happened next still gives me chills. Jason leaned forward, looked directly at our father's face, and in a clear, perfectly articulated voice said, "Thank you for reading to me." I heard every word. The nurse gasped. I froze, unable to process what I just witnessed. Dad, though unconscious, seemed to relax slightly at the sound of Jason's voice. 5 minutes later, Mom and Emma rushed in, but it was already over. Dad had passed with Jason still holding his hand. When I told Mom what had happened, and what Jason had said, until she collapsed into tears. The nurse, who had witnessed everything, confirmed it through her own tears. In 15 years of hospice work, she told us, I've never seen anything like that. Jason hasn't spoken again since that night. He returned to his tablet app and picture cards as if those 7 perfect words had used up all his verbal capability. Neurologists have offered various theories, a momentary breakthrough driven by extreme emotion, or perhaps he always had the ability but lacked the motivation until that critical moment. We'll never know for sure, but what I do know is that somewhere inside my brother's complex mind, he had been absorbing every story, every word our father read to him over 26 years of Sundays. He had been listening, understanding, and waiting for the moment when it mattered most to speak. Sometimes the most profound communication doesn't require a lifetime of words, just the right ones at exactly the right time. Dad's favorite quote was from Thoreau. It's not what you look at that matters, it's what you see. I think he always saw Jason completely, even when the rest of the world didn't. And in the end, Jason saw him too.